Hi everyone, this is Marianne and thank you for deciding to watch this video. Finally, after almost half a year, I have a planner related video and I'm really happy about it. As you know, I fell and broke my right wrist last November 5 and an external metal fixator had to be placed on my broken wrist and then a plaster cast afterwards and then about a month of physical therapy. I talked about this in a video that I will link down below. So ever since that day, November 5, until around the end of 2018, I was not able to use my planner the usual way. When I fell and broke my wrist, my planner pages for November were already printed and cut and hole punched and then placed into this salmon pink Franklin Covey that I love so much. But at that time when I fell, the December pages were not created yet. So what I did was the entire November, all I ever did with my broken wrist and all was to track my maintenance medication on my November pages that were already printed and cut and hole punched and placed in the planner. And these are the Midori MD paper, by the way. But when December came, I had no planner pages to do the tracking on. So what I did was I would lay out the pages for just the incoming week on Adobe InDesign using my remaining hand, which was my left hand. It was so difficult, you guys, but the template was already there and I merely had to change the dates, but even so, that was so difficult. And then I would print them on the A5 sized Elias paper, which fortunately I have already cut a couple of months prior from the batch of A4 Elias paper that I ordered from Everything Calligraphy. So that is why you will see a little bit of a color difference between the pages for November and the pages for December. Because I am using the Midori MD paper for the November pages and the Elias paper for the December pages. I have a video on my channel comparing the appearance and performance of the Midori MD paper and the Elias paper. I will leave a link for you in the description box. So like I said, I printed out the December pages week by week, but of course could not cut them down further to personal size like I always used to do. So I just left them uncut and used a pencil to track my medication on those just like I did on the November pages, and then kept all of the planner sheets, the November and the uncut December pages in a folder and then placed it inside one of my drawers. Towards the end of November, however, I did not even bother to print the pages for the week, and I totally let go of tracking my maintenance medication. I have become frustrated with seeing the beautiful planner pages not being used to their full potential, and I did not really need a daily reminder that I have temporarily lost the use of my right hand. But today, third week of March 2019, I decided to take out those November and December sheets, print out the missing sheets for December, cut the uncut pages, put them all in order, and then later on fill in the tracking marks with a pen over the pencil marks, and then try to fill in the hypertext with some color-coded information from what I can remember, sort of like a super belated tracking memory keeping exercise. Sometime that night, Ateme gave me some mangoes, and so I took a break. She gave me 2 mangoes in 4 slices, and I ate only 2 of the 4 slices. It took a lot of self-control because I really love mangoes. And then I continued with the cutting of the December pages. By the way, if you can hear a band playing somewhere in this video, it's because the school from across the street has band practice like right now, so please just excuse it. And then after all of the missing pages were cut and the entire set of pages for November and December 2018 have been cut and placed in the proper order, I then hole punched them using my trusty little Franklin Covey hole punch for the compact pages, which I purchased sometime in July or August 2013, I think it was, from the Franklin Covey store in Makati City in the Philippines. And then I placed everything on the rings of my somewhat famous salmon pink Franklin Covey compact binder with a 40mm or 1.5-inch rings, which was a rack from Deborah years ago. I love this binder so much and I will never ever let it go. This was the binder that I was using since about September 2018, and when I was recovering from my accident, I just slipped this into a drawer. But I took this binder back out again so I can use it to house these pages while I belatedly track some information on them. And now I just saw that the last couple of days for the month of October 2018 haven't even been filled in either. And darn if I can remember what happened then. I know that I had a long lunch with friends at some point, and another long lunch with one friend because it was also a long weekend due to All Saints Day and All Souls Day, which is an important annual religious observance in my country. I do have a video about this in my channel and I will link it down below. And I also spent some time doing errands because that was when I was dealing with Chandler's cable management for his new standing desk that I also designed. And I also spent a lot of time with Jawaid and also spent an entire afternoon with him and his brother and their family at their house. And I did sew these chiffon overlay curtains that I talked about in a previous video. But apart from those, I don't really remember much, so it's going to be a challenge to fill in the hypertext for those pages. But I decided to leave the missing tracking information for October for later and focus on the November and December pages instead. And so from then on, it really was just a matter of filling in the parts that were missing for November and parts of December. I simply used my trusty Pilot Metropolitan, the gray one that is loaded with Noodler's Heart of Darkness, and filled in those tracking bullets from my maintenance medication that I had already filled in with a pencil with my left hand as the days went by while I was recuperating from my accident. And as I went along, I do, of course, remember the key dates in which unforgettable things happened. So I just filled in those information in green ink using my green Metropolitan loaded with J. Herbin Lire Sauvage. By the way, I do have a video in my channel about the 4 different inks that I use for my planning system, and I will link it down below. Also, these Pilot Metropolitans, specifically the ones that I'm using now, the gray and the green, have extra fine nibs that have been taken from my Pilot penmanship, and I have a video showing the process. I will link that in the description box as well. As for the empty hyperdexes, it was easy for the most part because I stayed home the entire time from the day I got back from the hospital to put my external metal fixator in until the day that I had to go back to the hospital to get the fixator taken out, except for 2 days when I had consultations with my orthopedic surgeon in his clinic. So I do remember those 2 days in which I actually went out of the house, and it was quite easy to fill in the hyperdexes with the missing information from November 5 until December 19. After a few more days of recuperation, I was able to do a little bit more inside the house and also get out of the house. I sometimes hung out at Jawaid's place, and I was even able to do some simple errands, but I could not drive yet because I still had that cast on my right hand until December 28. And then finally, all of the missing pages have been printed and cut and hole punched and placed on the Franklin Covey, and the information on them have been belatedly recorded from as best as I can remember, and I am now placing them, the pages, into this particular archive volume. You have seen my archives below in a previous video, and I will leave a link for you in the description box. This is the archive volume that I am on now. As you can see, I have already archived the pages up to October 21, 2018, before I got into the accident. So it was just a matter of taking everything out of the binder, the salmon pink Franklin Covey, and then placing them on the book rings of this archive volume. Now I have cut an old brown folder into personal size so they can serve as sort of like dividers for the months. And I usually stick tabs onto those makeshift dividers so that I can know which ones are the journal pages and the ephemera pages and the planner pages for any particular month and year. But I haven't really been able to do that lately. Anyway, you will see those tabs in the archives video that I will leave for you in the description box. Now, because of my broken right wrist, which is still on the mend, it will get back to normal, but it will take some time. And because of that, starting January 2019, I have been using my iPhone 7, the GoodNotes app, and a Wacom bamboo pen for digital planning instead of planning on paper like you have always seen me do. And I will make a video about that, but I will still film a flip through of my Hyperdeck for October, November, and December. And thank you so much for very patiently waiting for a planner related video on my channel. I do plan to get back to making planner related videos in the future, but I also enjoy making other kinds of videos as well because my life is not just about planning after all. I also do other things that I plan for and track, and I believe that all these other kinds of videos help to round out my channel, and I certainly hope that you're enjoying them as well. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!